Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 12, Episode 13 for Sunday, the 2nd of April, 2023. Hello there everybody and welcome to the show. It is indeed the 2nd of April. It's Sunday and everything and stuff's happening and it's daylight outside for the first time in what seems like forever. So yeah, welcome to the show. I'm on the hard stuff, as you can see. Got to keep my voice going somehow. Right, yeah, welcome aboard everybody. We have got various people here in the chat, I see already. We've got Kangaroo, hello there Kangaroo, Peter Blackburn, Penfold, Get's here, Christopher's here, Pooper Scooper is here. And various folks. If you're watching and you're not in the chat, then just why not get in there and say hello. Dominic's here as well. Hiya Dominic. Says, anybody been fooled yet? You know, I've not actually seen an April Fool this year. I've not actually seen any, at least not that I'm aware was an April Fool. Let's put it that way. So no, I've not seen any this year. Not seen anybody do any this year or anything. But no, there've been some good ones in the past, but I've not seen any come this year. But yeah, April Fool's Day. Yeah, nobody got me. When was it? It was yesterday, wasn't it? April 1st. Yeah. So they should have got me yesterday if they were going to get me. What was I doing yesterday? I'm thinking about it. What was I doing yesterday? Not a massive amount. I was at the radio studio for quite a bit of it yesterday on my own, so I wasn't sort of gettable with an April Fool yesterday. So maybe that's why. Gambo's here. Hey Gambo. He says he's made it on time. Yay! More than I manage. Christopher says he's been out filming. The last train's at Glen Huntly Station before it closed for good on Friday. And he's been driving a train simulator as well. Excellent stuff. Cool. Right, okie dokie. Right, we'll crack on with it and see if we can race through it all today. As you see from the title of the show, it's all about American telephones today, because we got this one last time. This one I've got over here. This one, which it turns out has got all sorts of things wrong with it. Now, since you just realised I've not got that in the right place, have I? That's better. Can you hear me now? Since you last saw this last week, I've put a line code on it that doesn't seem to be working. And that, but bear in mind there are bits missing inside this phone, and I found another problem with it as well, in that the big stack of switches that are activated by the hook all seems to be falling apart. So we're going to try and have a little look at seeing if we can perhaps take that apart today and see if we can do something with that. Now I've not got much room on the desk for some reason. This desk gets full of stuff quite rapidly, so I'm just going to make a bit of room so we can crack on and do things. So I've not got much room at all so far. Hang on. Trying to make a bit more space. There it is. Alright, That's it. You should be able to see that now. Alright, let me get it in focus as much as I can. There we go. There you go. You've got it in focus now. Obviously, that should be on there like that. But yeah, there's all sorts of things wrong with it. It's one of the worst buys ever, this telephone. This is why you should never pay much for a telephone. I paid about £30 for this, and way too much given what's wrong with it. Way too much given all the problems with it. So let's have a little look at it, and we'll see where we are and what sort of state we're in. One thing I want to do is test the line cord, because I have a feeling the line cord might be a bit suspect that I've put on it as well. So I want to test that and do various other things also. Right, let's have a little look. Right, that clump was me opening a toolbox. Right, so first thing we need to do is get this unclipped. At the bottom here, and you just push a little thing in that you can't really see, but it's under here. Just push a little thing in there, and in theory it unclips, which it does, like that. So I can now take this cover off, and I will put the cover out of the way for a minute. So now you can see what I've done in here now since last week. You can see I've attached a line cord where I think a line cord should be attached, and I've also attached the curly cord where I think the curly cord should be attached, which is basically on these three things here. Now nothing works, it's dead as a dodo still, and I think the reason it's dead is because of this stack of switches here that I don't know if you can see on the camera, but they're just not moving. The whole thing was sort of falling apart inside. So what I need to do is try and get this stack of switches out. So what we are going to do is, first of all, I think we've got to take the dial off again. So there's a screw under each side of the dial. You don't have to take these all the way out. All you've got to do is loosen them, and you should then be able to get the dial off. So you can't see them, can you? So there. There you go. You can see now what I'm doing. So just loosen those screws, and then you should be able to jiggle that off. Perhaps this one needs loosening a bit more. There you go, it jiggles off and out of the way. There. And it has got a date of 1959 under there. You can see that in there. It says 73 and it says 259. So I'm thinking that is a 1959 dial. Because it's certainly an early one, because it's having the metal finger wheel on it. They went to a clear plastic one in America not long after. Now I think, now if I can turn it all around again, I think now this lot here, this lot is held in with these two screws, I think. So can we undo them? Yes, we can. They're tight. They've not been out for a long time, they've not. Right. Let me put some lights on here because I need to see what I'm doing now. Let the camera settle down again. There we go. Right. So what have we got here? Can these be pulled off? I'm not sure that they can. Right, the plastic cover I'm hoping will move with a bit of help from its friends. Now I've got to turn this round so I can do it, so I can see and do it. It's way harder to do anything when you try and do it on a live stream because you're trying to make it visible for people as well as actually do the thing. So I'm going to take these screws out at the risk of everything falling apart on me. Now that one's come out with a plastic cover on it, which I think holds all the stack together. So if I can get that cover back in there now. How do you get this to drop and dislocate? Now bear in mind, you can't take this off of the base because it's all riveted together. So somehow this must be able to dislocate, and I've got no idea how. Oh, right. Well, that's the cover off, and I can now slide the cover that way. And we can now see there's a stack of contacts that I've got to get back in the right order, and I shouldn't have taken those two screws out probably. So before we go any further, I think I'm going to try and put those back in again. Right, I'm just moving things because I've got no space to work as usual. this entire stack of contacts. Is all held together in here. And you just can't get your fingers in, and I can't see either. That's the little black bit. Goes in there. Right, now it is hopefully here. Possible to move this stack from under here. It is mega fiddly. With all these things in line. Right, and you can see why it was all falling apart. So I think what we're going to have to do is entirely disassemble this. And see what we've got. Because there's no way otherwise that we're going to be able to do it. So here we've got a stack of bits then. Now, so we've got a load of these, a load of these. Load of them. And a load of them. Now they're all the same. Right. There's another one. So we've now got all these copper contacts to play with. And the name of the game now is to see which way these all go, because as you can probably see, they are pretty much all different. and the differences relate to the pegs that are stuck out on that. So that kind of goes in here like so, and moves those up and down to make and break contact with things. So what you've got to do is figure out which ones need to be made and which ones need to be broken. And the problem with this is I've not got any diagrams or anything to go from at this stage, so we've just got to try and do it with witness marks on these. Now some of these have got little contacts on them. Can you see that little two soldery blobs on there? Yeah, and they are contacts, so that tells me that they are a contact that makes and breaks. There. So if they are a contact that makes and breaks, they've got to have an insulator between them, like that, yeah? And you can actually see that they are bent as well. Can you see that? So you then find your next set of contacts. That are the same shape. Now some of the little soldery bits on the ends of these are in a different position to others. If you look at them, see, some of them are crossways, some of them are lengthways. So from that we can kind of try and do a bit of detective work and work out what goes in what order. So we've figured out they go like that. Then there's another contact on there that is a long ways on contact, and the only one I've got is that. So that must go to there, and that must also have between them an insulator. So they must be stacked like that. Yeah, got to be like that. So now we look, are there any other contacts on these? Now, as far as I can see, no. So that's like a three-way thing. That's yeah, that's got to be like a three-way contact, that. Right. So we've done that bit then. put that bit to one side a minute, and we'll look at some more. So here we've got two more that could, but I don't think do. They're more likely. And those ones are also quite likely. Now, this one is the same as that top one on there, which has got to then either join up with that one, or those two top ones have got to join back to back, which I'm pretty sure they don't. So they go together as a set, and they go together as a set. And again, there's got to be an insulator in the middle of a set, hasn't there? So there we go. So we've figured out they go like that, we've figured out they go like that, and we've figured out that set of three there goes like that. But what we've not figured out is how the connections to the phones fit onto all this lot. Right, I'm just having a quick look at what people are saying in the chat. Peter says, why did you not post last week's shed on YouTube? It will be coming, Peter. It's not posted at the minute because basically I'm chopping the adverts out of it that YouTube leave in there because they put way too many adverts in, basically, and they put them in automatically without me being able to say where they go with it being a live stream. And so until I can chop them out again, I now take the stream down so you don't have to suffer the adverts. But it will appear sometime later. Pooper Scooper says, have you seen the latest Big Clive video, Andy? He bought a shaver and wanted to test it, so he just shaved two big lumps out of his head. No, I've not seen that yet. I have seen the listing for it, but I've not actually seen the video there. Yeah. I will have a look at that. Sounds like I think Clive would do that. Dominic says, were there clones of wall phones like the Northern Telecom 500 clones? I'll not say there were clones exactly, but Ireland did use them as well. Phones exactly like this what I've got here. Ireland used them, but I don't know if they were different inside or not, the Irish ones. Gambo says, I might send you my red push button 2500 phone to look at, Andy. I still can't get it to dial out. That's an interesting problem, Gambo. It might be a tricky one, that. Getting on dial out push button phones is not always easy, because it'll be a DTMF phone, so it needs to make the tones basically, so it'll be electronic. So the reason that is not dialing out is probably an electronic fault. It's probably not doing the tones, probably not doing the do. What you could possibly try is, if you happen to have one of those DTMF keypads that you used to use to call your answer phone remotely. You know, it was just a keypad that just did the tones, and you called your answer phone up from let's say a phone box or something. You held this little device up to the receiver of the phone in the phone box and pressed the numbers, and they did the DTMF down the line to activate your answer phone. Perhaps if you've got one of those, or can lay your hands on one of those, and you put that to the handset of the phone, perhaps you could bypass the keypad for dialing out in a similar way to how on a pulse dialing phone tapping the hook switch bypasses the dial. So you might be able to do that and see where that gets you, because that should do something, I would have thought. What? I'm not sure, but it should do something. Right, I'm just now looking at this phone again, to see if I can work out what order things coming. Now, how many have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. So I've got 7 contacts on these. So what I've now got to do is put this back together in the right order. Is there a way of working that out? You know something? I don't think there is. That's going to push down. On these. So I really do need another one to get the whole push downiness of this right. I need another one to look at that is right. Because that's kind of got to hang in there. This must have been put together before this bit was riveted onto the back plate of the foam. It must have been, because I can't see how else you can possibly do it. It's such a complex thing. Because you've got these two bits of plastic, you see. Yeah. That have both basically got to do something. But what they've got to do is anybody's guess. So I think what I'm going to do to make this easier to deal with, I think I'm going to disconnect the handset from it and disconnect the line cord from it as well, just to make it easier to deal with. And I think I've wired this up correctly. But I am going to make a note of what I've done. If I can get a piece of paper. We'll make a little note here of what's happening with it, because I'm a bit out of my depth with this, really. But when I'm out of my depth, there's nobody on YouTube that I can call up and go, how do you do this? So I just have to do it. So on here, there's like 3 pads, each with 2 terminals on. Then there's a funny pad thing there. So this one is R, this one is B, and this one is GN apparently. Then over here there's RR, here there's F, here there's K, here there's A, here there's L1, here There's G. Here with two things on it is L2. Right. So from the handset there's a white and a red on there. On the next one along there's a black. And on the far one there, a white, a red, from there's a white. And that goes onto the handset as well. So from the handset there's two whites, a black and a red cord. So yeah, so from the handset then there's, from the handset here there are four cords, two whites, a red and a black. Right, one white goes onto this terminal here, onto G. The black one goes onto this terminal here, which is marked B, and the other white and the red go onto this terminal here, marked white and red, marked R on the thing. And I think I've got that right, but I don't know for certain. Then L1 and L2 here are your line. So those two are your line, and I believe this is your bell wire. And I'm writing upside down now. How impressive is that? So that's what you've got. So what I'm going to do now is disconnect all these accoutrements just to get them out of the way, so I'm not getting tangled up in everything all the time. So we'll take that one off there. That one off there. Now one of the reasons I'm suspecting this is not working may be this line cord that I've put on. So one of the things I'm going to do is test this line cord. And see how good that is. Alright, so that's the line cord shifted. Right, now and I got four things going up to the dial which I'd quite like to take off, but I don't really want to, because if I take the dial off, that's just going to confuse things even more than they are already. So we've got two blank ones there. We've got one with red stripes on it there. See, all the colour coding on these has faded so much that it's almost impossible to figure out what goes where. So I think we are going to take them off and try and start from scratch. So we'll remove that one. So we've now removed that one. So there's one of these here that is, right, that one seems to be hardwired on. That one is hardwired on. Is that hardwired on as well? Yes, it blooming well is. Right, let me get rid of the handset. Now for a minute. So that's that, and that's the other white on there, and they all go up to the handset, because there they are, look, see, and that's all the handset. Right, I'm going to put the handset over there. Right. So I've now got those going up there. Now the question is, what is what on the dial? So I'm going to mark these again now, and I am going to take the dial off, I think. So I've got a blue wire, a green wire on the dial, and then I've got two wires that look very similar, so I'm going to put a bit of red tape on one of them. So I'm going to call them green, blue, white and red. So one of them goes to K, and that is No. One of them goes to RR. Sorry. And that is green. Blue goes to F. Blue. Then we're going to say this one, we're going to call this one red. We're going to call it red even though it's not. No, we're going to call it black, sorry. Even though it's not black, we're just going to call it black. And say that goes to there. Black tape. That's black tape. Yeah, that goes to that 4 one. There. That one. So we're going to call that one black tape. And we're going to put a little bit of insulating tape on it just to mark it, basically. So just to act as a marker. And then white goes to the front one. Yeah. So front one here is white. And they all go up to the dial. That means then I'll be able to get the dial out of the way and I'll be able to get in a bit easier. So dial. Green, yeah. Black tape one and the white one. Okay, so I've taken the dial off. There we go. Dial's off now. Not much left of it now, is there? Right. So we've got more or less only the chassis left. So we've got the dial off. We've got all these bits here in my hand. I think now it's time to get a little pot or something to put some of these bits in. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, I'm back. I'll tell you now, one of the cheapest things on the menu at KFC at the minute is a thing called a gravy mega box meal, which I think is $4.99. And you get a little pot of gravy, and the gravy comes in these marvellous little plastic tubs. So whenever I have a KFC, I save these little plastic tubs because they've got a really good little clippy lid on them, and they are just right for putting stuff like this in. When you get it all apart. There's two of my wires. I think these are fairly straightforward how they go together actually, so I will mix them up again then, and put all these bits in there, because I've got to rebuild that switch, and I've got to rebuild it all in the right order. So now here is the network. With a lot of things soldered on that I have a feeling should probably actually be screwed on. Very surprised if these should actually be all soldered onto here, but there it is. So what we've got to do is figure out what order all this stack of stuff goes in. To refit it under here. Because not only have you got to refit it under there, you've got to then somehow get this cover back on. Now that cover goes up there like that, and that goes in there like that. So that cover is now back on there. But the thing is, you've got to get the stack into there. And then screw it together. Which, as far as I can see, is just going to be near as damn it impossible. Right, just put all that in there for now. Right, that's all safely saved in there. So I'm now considering whether or not we unrivet this to get this off. Because it's a pop rivet there, a couple of pop rivets there, and a pop rivet there. because I can't see how we're going to stack this otherwise. It's an interesting problem. If it wasn't such a historic phone, such an old one, I would at this stage say, right, to hell with it and scrap it, this one, and use the bits to restore something that was a bit more of a viable project. But because it's such an old, early example of one of these wall phones, I do actually want to do it. So we're going to have to do a bit of research on this one and see what we can find out about what is what. But I think we need to do some more research. Now we've got it in bits, do some research and find out what actually goes where. Right, what are people up to in the chat? Oh, Fat Hobbit has joined us. Gabo says, I've sent you more pics of the telephones I received last week. Oh, cool. Again, says, it may be easier to look out for another wall phone, either be it Irish or US, and just keep the bits as spares. It would be. I totally agree. Yeah, you probably typed that before I said what I've just said. But because this is such an early one, I do want to save it because it's quite rare in being an early one with the metal finger wheel on the dial. Vlad Putin is here. He says, good evening, I like collecting Russian phones. Do you ever come across them? Yeah, is a simple answer to that. We do. For some reason, Russian and Soviet era phones get listed on the British eBay, ebay.co.uk, quite frequently. I've not got any from there because other than America, I don't generally tend to go for phones from other parts of the world, but yeah, they do pop up on eBay in the UK quite frequently, so they can be found should you want to have a search for them. And not mega expensive either, because I think most people don't want them, because most people are looking for classic British phones and that in the UK, and not looking for stuff from Europe or from Russia or other parts of the world, so they tend to not fetch much money. So yeah, to answer your question, no, they're not expensive. At least not in the UK, they're not. Right, I think this phone here for today, I think we'll put this to one side and move on to the next thing. So what I think I might do here is just drop the dial back on, just to keep all the bits sort of together. Like so. Then we'll just drop the case back onto it, Now one thing I will do is test that line cord, which I'm a bit suspicious about. Isn't it nice to have a case that just drops on like that? GPO, take note. So that's that. So for now we'll put that to one side and we'll come back to it for another week. Yes, yet another week. Now it's not just that that's come from America recently. I've also had this box arrive. And this box is quite exciting because I'll get things out of it before I sort of move cameras around and things. Just talk amongst yourselves a minute. Right. There's a handset. Looking in the wrong box. Actually, this has also arrived. This has not come from America, but this has also arrived. So I will now unwrap this while I'm doing. Wait till I turn it round. You'll like it when I turn it round. There. It is a 706. Doing a bit of a transitional period type thing, where it's got the original dial surround, but it's also got a modern clear plastic finger wheel. This did happen. I've seen other phones like this. Also interestingly, it's got a plastic carry handle as well. So has it been refurbished is the question, and there's not much of anything written on it. It does say on the bottom here though, 706 CB HAS 661. 706 CB HAS, which is the manufacturer, 661. It says on the bottom of there. I don't know if you can see because it's kind of stamped into the plastic. So this was a CB phone originally. So it wouldn't have had that surround on it. So has this been put together by somebody out of bits is the question. What's going on here? And I don't really know. Perhaps it has, I'm not sure, because it's always a bit suspect when you get the case and you get the little blanking button there. The blanking button is suntanned more than the rest of the case, and you think, well, if they've been together all their life Why is that bit tanned more than that bit? Assuming it's made out of the same sort of plastic, of course. And then you look at the handset and you realise there's a modern microphone in there. No date on that, I don't think. But is there a date on this end? Because there is often a date on these. Ah, so this has got a date on HAA 67. And have I just said HAA is underneath it as well? Have I just said it's HAA? HAS. HAA and HAS the same people? Could be. So perhaps that is contemporary with that. But then the dial isn't going to be if it's central battery, is it? If it was originally central battery. So let's take the case off and see if we can find a date on the dial. Came off a bit too easy today. Right. How many dial cards have we got? Only one. So yeah, this does not look like a dial dating from 1966 to me. I can tell already. Right. Let's take that off. There's a sticker, telephone 706 sticker on the inside of there. It's not being converted, so it's not being messed with. But let's have a look at the dial and see if we can find a date on it. Oh, that screw was loose. That screw was loose. Right. That's usually a date on the edge here somewhere, and there is something written on it just there that I can't read because of the light, but if I hold it up to the camera, you might be able to read it when I can't. '81. Can you see that? 80/1. Which is kind of what I was suspecting. So in 1980, this has got a 1980s dial fitted to it. Now that is when it could have been refurbished at the factory. It could have been done in 1980. But the thing is, if they did that, get back in focus, if they did that, why did they leave the bezel on? Why didn't they fit a plain one? Suspicious is. Now you see, here's the stack of things on a 706, your stack of contacts. They're very similar to on that American phone, but look how much easier they are to get at on one of these. Yes, this is quite interesting. So I don't know really. I mean, if it's CB, that tells me, if it was on central battery, that tells me really it should be a phone without a dial, and that would explain why it's got a much later dial on it. But it doesn't explain why it's got the dial bezel, because if it was a phone without a dial, it wouldn't have that bezel, would it? So is it a Bitzer? It may be a Bitzer, this one, but it's quite a nice phone anyway, so I think we'll probably just leave it be as a Bitzer. I mean, it came in at the right price. I think it was only about 10 or something like that, so came at the right price, and it's quite a nice looking telephone. If I can just get that back together. It does of course need converting to plug and socket. I'll put the old Plymouth number back in it that it originally had, stick its opal back in. There we go. That's actually quite nice. It's not too suntanned, that one. I quite like it, and this combination of the bezel and the clear finger wheel, I do actually quite like it. I've got a red one like this as well, and it is kind of a combination that I quite like. And it's not running bad, this dial. 1001. Might be a tad slow, but it's not too bad. So anyway, that's another one that's arrived recently. So yeah. So I'm running out of places to put stuff now. We need a bigger studio. Right. I think at this stage it's almost getting near time for us to be disappearing. But I'm going to find these two American phones out that I have got here. But we will, I think, also open up the line if anybody wants to ring us in over CNET. We will open the lines in just a moment. When I can get hold of it. Just a sec. Yeah, the lines are open sort of now ish, so if you want to join us over CNET, 0246872001 over CNET. If you want to call in the show, you can give us a ring now, and yeah, we'll be happy to talk to you. In the meantime, what did I do with that other box? Oh, that must be it then, under there. Right. Who is pinging me? Somebody's pinging me on my mobile, and I couldn't find my mobile then for a minute. Oh, somebody sending me videos, but not of phones, so it's not immediately relevant, shall we say. Right, it's this box down here, I think, then. Things that are having so much luck with American wall phones at the moment. Shall we try another one? This one's slightly different. It's smaller, and as you can see, it's push buttons. It dates from about 1990, this one, because the person I bought it off actually is in this country now, but they bought this in America in about 1990. It's an ITT phone. They bought it in America in about 1990. And it's got all sorts of things like hearing aid compatible on a sticker on the back of it, and all sorts of stuff. I will show you the sticker on the back in a moment. Hang on, let me get on the right camera. Right. It's got a sticker like that on the back, you see. So that 990 at the top there, top right, I'm guessing that is a date. Ringer equivalence 0.5 amps. Interesting, and it's hearing aid compatible apparently. Cortelco, Corinth, Mississippi. Made in the USA with pride. Right. So they bought this in the US in about 1990, but that's not all they bought. Oh no. Because also around about the same time they bought another ITT phone. This one. Now this is probably something similar to what Gambo's on about. Is this something like your 2500 Gambo, your red one? Does it look something like this? It's got a similar label to the other one on the bottom. There. But it doesn't say like 500 or anything. Oh, yeah. This says 250009. Yeah, so this is another interesting one. Now, great thing about American phones is later ones are what they call modular, which means they have like everything plugs together on wires. Everything plugs in, so you can like get the handset of an American phone, and you can like just unplug the cable out of the handset and change the cable. Modular is quite clever because it is what it says on the tin, and you can then unplug it from the phone end as well, so you can swap things over and stuff. But what I can do is I can plug this now theoretically straight into CNET. If only I had a cable, and hey presto, a curly cord, which I can theoretically get over here to CNET and plug it straight in. Let's plug this into 87290. On here. Right. I've got no idea if this is going to work or not, but we'll give it a go, shall we? Hopefully that is going to pull that off there, isn't it? Alright, I'll move it on there. Right. I wonder if it's in live. I can't hear with this headset on. Oh yes it is, actually. So I can ring myself on this now then. So let's see what happens if I ring. No. I want to ring 201, don't I? Right, I'm now ringing, and I'm an incoming call from Staveley Exchange. So I'm going to take my headset off, and then I'm going to answer the call, and you should hear this then through CNET. Okay, so if I take my headset off. There you go. Right, you are now hearing me speaking through CNET, and this is a bit weird because I'm hearing it back on myself. Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange. Oh, yeah. Yes, it's coming back because the feed is coming back through Zoiper. So, yeah, so I can hear myself back on it. You probably can't, but you can probably just hear what's happening. So I'm going to move it away from my ear because it's very disconcerting for it to coming back a couple of seconds later. But you can now hear how this phone sounds over CNET, and this call is actually going over CNET. It's going through this phone, through an ATA box on my windowsill here, through my server on the windowsill, and then through the Zoiper app, which acts as another phone, actually on my computer, which is how you guys get to hear it. So that is how this works over CNET. So this phone is actually in good working order, and because it is an American phone, it doesn't need a resistor or anything plugging into it, and because it's straight into that ATA, it doesn't need any kind of conversion or anything, because it's straight into that ATA. So yeah, this phone is working very well as a CNET phone. Right, I'm going to hang up now and go back to how things were. Yeah, right, okay, see you in a minute. Cool. Did you enjoy that? That was different, wasn't it? For myself, for a change. Yeah, remember 024687201 is the number to call if you want to try and ring us up here on scene. I'm just going to disconnect this phone for now because I've got wires going everywhere. Something's going to get dragged off of somewhere if I'm not careful, so just bear with me one moment. Can't unplug the damn thing now. Hang on. Hang in there just a minute. I'm coming. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Andy.
Hiya. Oh,
I tried calling you about 3 minutes on my 70746 phone, but the dial's not working on it. It won't dial the number correctly.
Oh dear. It's not playing the game, isn't it?
No, the dial's not dialed. He's given me not the engaged tone, the line, not the engaged tone, the other tone you get on the dial a number when you dial the wrong number. It comes up with that tone all the time. I don't understand why.
Are you on a computer at the minute, Christopher?
I'm on my N1970B.
Because I can hear myself, and I'm wondering why I can hear myself.
No, I'm on my Ericsson. We might be able to hear the microphone making that crackling noise in the background.
Yeah, I can hear myself as well. I think like as if I'm coming through speakers on a computer in the same room or something like that.
Yeah, because I've got my laptop in the same room and near the telephone. That's all I can hear yourself talking.
Oh, that might be it. It's just there was a faint in the background. That's all. I just wonder what were going on. But yeah, that explains it. That's fine. Yeah. So we've not had much luck today, Christopher, with American phones. They've been causing me problems. As you've probably seen.
Well, it's both the same thing as my United States 500 set having bell issues. The bell won't ring on it now. It used to ring, but it doesn't ring anymore.
One of the bells doesn't ring.
No, the whole bell doesn't work. I can hear see the bell crap is starting to ring. It doesn't have enough voltage to ring the bell for some reason.
Have you done any no, you won't have done a conversion on it because you're in Australia and you don't do the conversions there. Yeah, just couple it straight up to 2 line wires. Forget about bell cords and things. If you get the A and the B leg of a line, yeah.
Yes.
Just couple it straight up to the line and nothing else.
Yeah, that's what I've done with my West Electric motor. Where it normally has the bell one, there is a third cable. Actually, put the bell straight onto the A and B leg of the line.
Yeah.
And it used to ring that way because I added a ringer pad to the bell. So because when I first got the bell, it never worked on the original wire. So I added my own we can ringer pads onto the bell electron magnet, and it used to work, but now the bell doesn't work. And the electron magnet's starting to move, and here it starts buzzing, and it doesn't ring the bells.
Right. So has your line voltage fallen then, or something?
Yeah, I've checked it a while back, but I'm having going for a PBX, not straight on the exchange. I don't think it'll be something to do with the telephone exchange.
So, did it work okay on the PBX but not on the exchange, or is it the other way around?
No, it used to work fine on the PBX. Now it doesn't work on the PBX thing. I checked the voltage and it still outputs 100 volts. That's the ringing voltage on the PBX.
Yeah. Well, 100 volts should that's a lot actually. 100 volts that should ring it. They should ring on about 60 volts. So yeah. I don't know what's going on there.
Because it has enough to drive the UK bells when they don't have to, we call it the resistor in line to the bells on the British phone. They ring actually perfect on 100 volts.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on there. That should be working fine. maybe somebody in the chat can come up with something. I will look what people are saying as I'm speaking to you.
Well, I had a similar problem what you had with the switch. You know how you had this problem with your switch on your 500 set?
Yeah.
I had a similar problem like that on a 70, no, not on a 706, on the Ericsson version of the 706 phone.
Yeah, just dirty contacts on the switch.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hitting the when you put the receiver down. It wasn't pushing the switches out to knock out the line when you hanged up the telephone.
Oh right, yeah, something just a bit bent or something.
Yeah, the whole mounting back was bent where the switch was mounted. So I took the switch out and bended the thing back straight again, and it worked perfectly after that. The phone.
Yeah. Right.
I got the phone working properly now, though.
Yeah. You've sorted that one.
Yes.
Cool. Brilliant.
And I've set it up to a hotline number, so it goes straight through, and I lift up the handset as well.
Brilliant. Marvellous job. I'm just going through the chat, Christopher, and looking what people are saying. Gambo says this phone I've got on the desk here is exactly like his, except a different colour. So that is exactly like his.
Yeah.
And this one works.
Yeah.
So I wonder why Gambo's doesn't.
I know a thing about push-button American telephones. They work with when they have the polarity reversed on the line, the keypads don't dial out. When the polarity is the right way, the keypad works.
Right. Oh, so what you're saying is the A and the B on the line is crucial on an American.
If you have it in reverse, the keypads don't work.
Right. Are you hearing that, Gambo? Because that's something I didn't know.
Yeah, because sometimes, because I was at my friend has an American phone. I was helping him figure his one out. He's on the Facebook chat. He asked anyone does anyone have that keypad on the 2500? And I remembered by the time I watched on YouTube said if the line legs are reversed, the keypad doesn't work. If you put it the right way round, it works.
Right. So, Gambo, if you're listening to this, turn your wires round. Your red and your white wires in your line cord, swap them over.
You do it inside the phone, not on the wall, so you've got to reverse the line legs over and it'll just work perfectly.
Yeah, reverse them inside the phone, Gambo. Now, the problem he's probably going to have is he'll have one of those plugged into his phone, which you'll see in a minute, Christopher, when it catches up. He'll have one of these RJ connectors plugged into the back of his phone.
Yeah, the RJ11 going into a British converter jack for the for the British socket.
So it might be a bit difficult to reverse the polarity, but my guess, Gambo, is do it in the phone. And now in the phone, the American colours for the incoming line, if I've remembered this right, and you might know, Christopher, red and green, aren't they? Not red and white.
In the American phone, it originally was red, green, and white for the bell.
White for the bell. So yes. red and green were the A and B of the line.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, that's what I agree with that. Yeah. So Gambo, what you need to do is look inside your phone where if it's modular like this one is, there'll be a little grey socket on it, Gambo, like that. Look on the back of that and look for the red and the green, and wherever the red and the green go inside the phone, swap them over. Just try swapping them over and then see if it dials out, because that's brilliant what you just told me there, Christopher. I had no idea about that, but that could well be his problem.
Yeah, because I had a what do you call those ones, the trimline version of the Western Electric push button phone. When I got it, it didn't work, and I figured out if you reverse the line legs in reverse, when the line in your house is in reverse, it makes the keypads work.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you see, when I don't know what it's like in Australia, but certainly over here with GPO and what is now BT, when they put the line into your house, the two colours that they use over here are red and white, and it just comes in as two wires, and they're not always consistent with which way round they do it.
Yes.
So
because we had 3 different types of line jacks in this country. We first originally had the hardwired set up for the desk phones, and in the 1960, if I'm saying this correct, we went to a 610 fitting.
yeah.
And then we went in the 90s. We went to the United States style RJ11 style jacks and plugs.
Oh right, so you've got these then over there.
Yes.
Oh right, I didn't realise Australia had these. Oh right.
Yeah, except for the apartment I live in. My apartment still has the 1960s 610 jack on the wall. So I have to use a 605 plug to RJ11 converter fit into the socket.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of doing is pulling that jack off the wall and putting an RJ11 straight on the wall.
Yeah. Well, I've got an interesting problem with one of these with this.
Yes.
Because this is fitted for modular as well, and wall phones,
yes,
as you probably already know,
yes,
have got this weird thing on the back that fits them up straight onto the wall somehow. It fits into the wall with this strange.
The way they go on the wall, they make a special wall so it's like an RJ11 jack, but on the socket it has 2 metal screws on the socket. You put the phone onto the one, you slide it down onto the screws.
Yeah. Yeah. So to get this one going, I need one of those wall mounts to get this going.
Yeah, lucky enough that I bought my American phone. My local electronics store over here sells those jacks actually in it, so I didn't have to order mine offline from America. I just go straight to the store and pick one up for sort of $8 and I can get my phone working.
Yeah, because you've got the same. Have you got that system then on wall phones? That.
Yeah. No, not anymore. We use what do they call it? They have one you have to plug a line cord in and then goes down to the jack on the floor.
Right. So it's like one of those that sort of just plugged in at the bottom somewhere, or
yeah.
And then you just go down, which to me is more sensible. But
we did
I
have
guess
a similar thing on our 1980s style wall phones in 1990s, was where we had a 610 socket upside down and sort of jack, and then we slide the phone over, it locks onto the socket.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I'll send you a picture in about 5 minutes. I'm showing that because I've actually got one on the wall in my kitchen where it has that style where you put the phone on the slide down on the wall bracket.
Okie dokie. Yeah, fine. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think the idea of these things on the back of the wall phones is so there's no wire, isn't it? It's so it looks neat on the wall, so there's no wire trailing anywhere. That's the idea of it. But of course, you have to have the phone where the socket is on the wall to do that.
It was funny about Australia in the 60s. When we got telephones in the 60s, our desk phones went to plug and socket, but in the 60s they kept the wall phones as hardwire.
Right. So they didn't bother plug and socket in the wall phones at the time.
They kept them as hardwire.
Oh, that's interesting. That is. I wonder if that happened here as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Does anybody know?
Yeah, when I send you the picture of this, this telephone, what looks like a push button touch tone phone, it actually dials out in the pulse mode.
Right. Okay. Yeah. A lot weren't they? We had them like that here as well. Where there was a little switch, you could switch them between pulse and tone.
Yeah, this one is pulse only, this one. I've got $8 for the pulse mode.
Right, okay, yeah, we had some of those as well. Normally, here, they had a battery in.
Yes.
A rechargeable battery that is now always dead. And it takes quite a bit of converting to get them working again. I have got a few of them. There were two different sorts of rechargeable batteries that fitted inside them.
Yes.
That were specially potted by the GPO. You know, they were in a special plastic enclosure. There was a blue one and a red one, and they were not interchangeable. And certain designs of phone had the blue one, certain designs had the red one. Why on earth they had to have different ones, I'll never know. But it made those particular push button phones very hard to deal with now, because you basically have to get this battery pack, and of course the battery inside them are all long dead, and totally disassemble the battery pack, which is sealed together. So you have to go at it with sort of a scalpel blade and a hacksaw and whatever you can to try and get it apart. Then get the old cells out from inside it and put a new equivalent cell into it, and it's quite an involved thing to do. So if anybody's in the UK is looking at one of those phones that is a 10 button keypad, basically, unless you want a real project, don't do it, because they're really hard work.
Yeah, I did something similar to that the other day. I made my own rechargeable 6-volt lantern batteries the other day. We're using 3.7 volt lithium cells and running them in a series.
Have you done anything with these, Christopher? These little cells that I'm holding up. This is the Big Clive thing. If you watch Big Clive on YouTube, he put me onto this. The disposable vapes that you get, you know, these things for people who want to smoke without smoking. The disposable vapes, even though they're disposable, do have quite a chunky little rechargeable lithium battery in them. Oh, he's gone. He's gone and he's coming back. Hang on. Hello.
The ATA went out again like it always does.
I'm back. I have no idea why it does that. But yeah, what I was saying, Christopher, these little cells that I've got here, these come out of the disposable vapes.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but here you walk down the street and there's loads of these disposable vape things, because people
I've only ever found two so far in Melbourne, but what I actually use is today someone was throwing out an old laptop, an old damaged laptop. The battery was they saw the batteries. The batteries for those like 3.7 volt, the big green ones.
Oh yeah.
And what I do with those, I've got a whole bunch of them. I actually made a homemade 6-volt rechargeable battery from old rail lamp.
Excellent. Yeah.
6-volt lantern batteries are going they're getting very expensive nowadays. At least it's over here. You at least pay about $22 for one 6-volt battery.
Yeah, I can imagine, actually. Everything's getting expensive. It's all getting expensive over here as well. But
I don't have to buy them anymore. I just made one rechargeable. I just keep charging up every time the battery stops working.
Yeah. I've been picking these vapes up when I see them, you see.
Yeah.
And some of them got quite big. See, that's quite a chunky battery that I've got out of one of them.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to read on it, and my terrible eyesight.
I've only ever found about two. I've got one I found in the tower block I live in, and one I found this where I go train spotting as well.
Yeah, this one is 5,000. It can't be. It seems to say 5,000 milliamps on it, but it can't. Surely it can't be. But
the ones I use, if I can figure out where I put one, I think I got one on the windowsill behind me actually. Got this one here. I just looked behind me, the one on the windowsill. This one I had problems with earlier. This one I was 2,000 milliamp. The one I've got.
This one, it's 1,000. This one I've got here out of this vape, this big one, is 1,500 milliamp hours.
Yes.
At 5.55 watt hours, 3.7 volts.
Yeah.
So,
mine's also
but
3.7 volts as well.
that's the biggest one. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think they all are these lithium cells, aren't they? I think they're all 3.7.
Yeah.
But that's a 1500 milliamp hour one. And what are the littler ones that I've found?
Yeah.
The littler ones are. I'm just holding them up to a camera so I can see them. Right, wrong way up. 550
Yes.
milliamp hour, so about a third of the size. So yeah, they're worth grabbing. I keep grabbing them whenever I see them. We don't see them that often because I think other people are picking them up. Thanks to
I've only ever found two. They're not very popular, those things over here in Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, they're popular over here, but I think other people are picking them up thanks to Big Clive.
All the lithium-based I've got, I've actually greased some of our old head torches and found them this being thrown out in our rubbish bins out the back of our outside the flats.
Right. And they've got rechargeables in, haven't they?
Yes.
All right. Marvellous. Right. Okay. Well. Yeah. What was I doing here? Oh, I was sorting out these American phones, wasn't I?
Yep.
So I'm going to have to get a bit for this American war phone, I think. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, I'll get my mobile phone out and then take a picture of these wall jacks we have. I'll take a picture of all the types we had over here, and I'll send them over the email in about 5 minutes. You can show them on the stream while you want here right now.
Yeah, take us a picture of the wall jack thing. Yeah, and we'll see what we can do. It might not get on this week because emails take a while to get here sometimes, and I'm about to.
It'll probably take about 5 minutes the way my internet goes slow at my place. It might take about 5 minutes. It might ping on your mobile once it uploads from my internet over here.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't always come through straight away. It's a funny thing. They sometimes go somewhere for no reason that I can figure out. But sometimes email disappears for like a couple of hours and then comes a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens to it. It must be something to do with servers and getting overloaded and things. But
yeah.
that's just the way it is. But yes, send them over, Christopher, and we'll stick them on the stream next week.
Yeah, I'll take the phone and send them over to you, Andy.
Lovely, brilliant job. Right, I'm about to sign off anyway, Christopher. So it's nice talking to you again, and I'll catch up with you soon, mate.
Yep. See you, Andy.
Cheers, Christopher. Bye.
Bye.
That was Christopher there in Australia, and if anybody else wants to ring us quickly, I'll say we're going to be disappearing in about 5 minutes. So if anybody else wants us quickly, the number's up. No, it's up there. 0246872001 is the number to call. So what he has said there, that's very, very interesting. I'm glad you called us, Christopher. What he's saying there is that the line voltage coming into your phone has to be the right way round to make a push button phone dial out. So that may be, Gambo, why your phone isn't dialing, because other phones will work whatever way around those line legs are, but apparently these American phones like this one are temperamental. So just try turning it round. Try turning the line legs round inside the phone and see what happens. And it may solve your problem. You may end up with a working phone, because it may be that your entire house is just wired up the opposite way round. A is where B should be and B is where A should be. And on 99% of the world's telephones, it'll still work fine. But it's just on these, apparently, where it doesn't. I mean, quite lucky that this worked, aren't I, really? But I wonder if doing it through the ATA makes it be the right way around. Possibly. Right, Anyway, that is about it for today. I'll just see what folks are up to in the chat, what everybody is saying on there. Gambo's saying about the phone that I had, I think, about the 706 that I showed earlier. He says maybe the original case was badly sun-bleached and somebody changed the cover but put the blank button back on. Yeah, it's possible. I think that 706 has definitely been messed about with at some point. I think there's been bits changed over somewhere there. Miette says that US wall phone that I was messing with earlier, the black one, it says as the network and contact stack were made and these were riveted to the base and wires, the wires were soldered to the network. So basically it was all made as one lump sort of thing. Yeah, it says, can someone call me on CNET as I cannot get dial tone and it does not work. It won't work until you are registered on it, Miguel. And I've registered you on the system here. If you've set up the ATA, you should be able to go into that setup thing on the ATA, and on one of those menus it will say if your phones are registered or not registered to the ATA, and it might be a case you need to turn the ATA off and on again after about 10 seconds. Give that a try, that sometimes works. Dominic says, got to head off now, but have a good Easter everybody. I've got my driving theory on Thursday. Good luck with that, Dominic. I hope it all goes well for you. Oh, Gambo says that his 2500 phone from America doesn't have the connector cords plugs, so it's not modular. So if it's not modular, Gambo, it'll be a lot easier for you to turn those line legs around. So yeah, just switch them around inside the phone and see what happens, see if that makes it work. The other Christopher's here, Christopher Charles, and he says when exchanges changed from manual boards to automatic, engineers were sent out with dials to convert the phones on customers' sites. Clear dials could have been a normal maintenance repair. That's interesting. So what you're saying there, Christopher, is rather than change the phone from CB, i.e. a dial-less phone, to a phone with a dial, they didn't actually change the whole phone. What they did was just fitted a dial to the phone they'd already got there. That would explain a lot. In 1966, and in 1966 they would have put on a alphanumeric bezel, because the clear ones didn't come out till 67, the plain bezels. So that makes a lot of sense. So thanks for that, Christopher. You may have cleared something up for us there. Penfold says, when you ring back to the US phone, do you hear the Rockford Files answer phone message? Unfortunately not, no. Nor do I get Charlie from Charlie's Angels, or even any of the Angels, unfortunately. Yes, so my CNET does not work. Yeah, I'll grant you, Miguel, it's a pig of a thing to set up. It is quite complex. Um, um, all I can tell you about setting up for CNET, Miguel, is the email that I sent you with all those fairly complex instructions on, to somebody who is computer savvy, you know, who knows a little bit more than just what you do when you're normally web browsing. Somebody who knows a little bit about computers, those instructions should make sense to them. So if you know anybody, if you've got sort of a younger member of the family that's into computers and stuff like that or something, give them those instructions, give them the ATA and say, set me this up please, and they should be able to do it fairly in a fairly straightforward way for you. Gambo says, thanks for the information about the priority and that. It says he doesn't have one of those cores, so he's not got the modular, so it should be easier to switch around. It says those batteries can be a fire risk. Well, they can if you overcharge them, but then so can every rechargeable battery. Oh, Gambo says, oh my god, it worked. My 2500 dials out now. But not ring. It doesn't ring. Right. Well, we're winning. Did it ring before, Gambo? Did it ring before, or does it only? Have we solved one problem and created another, or did it not do anything before? But now it dials out. You need it to ring. Should ring just by yes. When you say it doesn't ring, Gambo, do you mean it doesn't actually make the bells go ring ring, or do you mean you can't take incoming calls? Because you can get in a situation where the bells don't ring, but if you were psychic and actually knew somebody was calling you and lifted the phone up, would the call connect even though the bells don't ring? If you can tell me which of those it is, we might be able to diagnose it a bit further. Penfold says, usually 80s fax machines required the correct polarity to work. And Christopher says, I've sent the email now about the Australian phone sockets. It's not got here yet though, because I've not heard it. Right, so it looks like we may have solved a problem for Gambo there tonight. My problem is still that black phone, which I've now got in many more pieces than when we started tonight. But we have found this rather nice ITT 2500. We found this works and actually works quite well. I'm quite pleased with that one. And when we can get a connector to go on the back of it, then hopefully we'll get this one going as well. So I want a modular wall connector. I think I'm going to Google it and see if we can find it and have a look at Christopher's photos as well, which should also point me in the right direction. But that is about as far as we go for now. Oh, Gambo says, yeah, it did ring before, but I'm sure it did before. The bell's ringing, I meant. Right, so the bells rang before. But now the bells don't ring. But you can dial out. Right. Gambo, have you done a conversion? Have you done a conversion on this red phone, Gambo, to British plug and socket? Have you done any kind of conversion inside the phone to make it work with plug and socket, or have you got an adapter, a British adapter on it? Because it may be that you're going through too many capacitors or something to get it to ring. Because what I think's probably happened here is, if you've got it wired for 3 wires, i.e. you've got a bell wire on it, the AC for ringing the bell obviously goes down 2 wires, but it changes over. Now, if you swapped over inside the phone your left and right leg, then your bell wire will not be completing the circuit anymore. So what you need to do is swap them back inside the phone. This is if you've got it wired for 3 wires. Swap them back inside the phone and somehow swap them over. Swap your red and your white over. Your British red and white, assuming you've got a British line code on it. Swap your 2 line legs over in the line code, yeah, rather than actually in the phone. So swap them back in the phone to the way they were, then try ringing it and see if it rings, yeah. So swap them back, see if it rings. If it does ring, then swap your A and B at the plug end, not inside the phone, and see if that works. Do you get that, Gambo? He says, yes, I did convert it myself, but just wired it up via a normal landline cord. So I must have had a... Says, scratch that, it just started working. Oh, cool. So it's just started working. It says you must have had a loose terminal. Right, brilliant. We've solved it then, Gambo. Excellent. At least we've got one phone working tonight that didn't when we started. So, yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that as a win, Gambo. That tonight. Right, and I think with that we'll call it a day, shall we, folks? Because it is getting on for 9 o'clock, actually. Crikey. Thanks to everybody for watching tonight. I hope you've all enjoyed this what was supposed to be a short show. It's actually turned out to be quite a long one. We will be back next weekend, even though it is Easter weekend. We will be back. We will be on over Easter weekend. We will be on, I promise you, over Easter weekend. It's the weekend after that we might not be. So yeah, we are on next week around about 6:30 as usual for episode 14 of this series of Andy's Shed Live. But for me, for now, have a fantastic week ahead, everybody, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.